Hello everybody, how are you? Look, I've been thinking, seeing we're all kind of having to stay at home because of the coronavirus, and who knows how long that's going to be for, I thought let's make hay while the sun shines. Let's take advantage of this position and let's do a bit of Pilates. Now, I know some of you have been doing Pilates for a little while and others of you are pretty much beginners. So I thought what we might do is we might kind of go right back to the basics. So my thinking is that we will do a series of just short videos, 10 or 15 minutes, and you can repeat the videos if you want to. You can practice certain parts of them, but we'll kind of build on the videos. But let's go right back to basics and then work our way up. Because I think sometimes we do forget the basics, and the basics are the things that really help us be very efficient in terms of the way we do the exercises, and the basics are the things that help to protect us in terms of doing Pilates. So what I want to do for today's video is I want to have a look at our posture in Pilates, our breathing, what's the way we breathe in Pilates, the two main positions that we use when we're doing the exercises, and these two positions I'll be saying to you at the beginning of the exercise, being this position or being that position, and lastly and very importantly, how we activate the T-zone. So I obviously can't see you, but I would love to see you. I guess this isolation is great in terms of social media, but that actual seeing you in the flesh, but I can't see you. So you're going to have to think about what's working for you and really listening to your body, because the idea is not to have pain in your body. But there are going to be times where you're going to feel your muscles working. So only you can know the difference between pain and your muscles working in a way that they maybe haven't worked before. So I'm just asking you to really listen to your body. Okay. So let's start by looking at our posture. Now I'm sitting down on the floor just for the purpose of the video, but feel free to stand up or even lie down on your mat or your towel or whatever you've got that's comfortable for you. So our Pilates posture is our shoulders are very relaxed and our shoulders are back and down. So when you do that, when you take your shoulders back and down, there is a sensation that you're creating a V in your back. You can almost feel that V shape happening when you're going back and down. Now this is not back and down, forcing it. This is very relaxed and very comfortable. So we're just bringing our shoulders back and down. That's right. Okay, and we're also just bringing our chin in slightly. We're not sticking our chin out. We're not pulling it right back. It's just sort of tucked in slightly, and it's like we've got an orange sitting under our chin, which we're holding on to. Okay, again, all very relaxed. And with our head and our neck, think about a string pulling you up from the crown of your head so that you're getting a real sense of elongation in the back of your neck. Again, everything is relaxed. We can do whatever we want in this position. It's a relaxed position. Shoulders back and down, chin slightly tucked in, and a sense of elongation at the back of our head. Okay, now we're going to maintain that position no matter whether we're standing, whether we're on the floor, whether we're on our stomach, whether we're on our side. That's the basic Pilates position, and I will remind you of that because often when we're doing the exercises and we're kind of trying really hard, our shoulders can creep up against our ears and we make it harder for ourselves. And the thing about Pilates is that it shouldn't be this big effort. You shouldn't be kind of straining. Generally, our body is quite relaxed when we're doing our Pilates. Our muscles are working in certain places. But Pilates works best when you've got to focus on on concentration, when you're really concentrating and you're kind of present in what you're doing, as opposed to that sense of making a really big effort. So be thinking of that when you're doing the exercises as well. Okay, so let's have a look at breathing. Breathing is fantastic. Well, breathing is fantastic as long as we're breathing. But it is fantastic in Pilates because it helps us a lot. So generally, when we're on the exertion of the activity is when we're breathing out. Okay, but there's a particular way that I want you to be breathing in Pilates. Most importantly is that you are breathing, because a lot of people stop breathing as they're doing exercise, which is absolutely not what we want you to do. So with our breathing, again, the shoulder area remains pretty still, yeah? The breathing is actually here, because what we're doing is we're filling up our lungs, and in filling up our lungs, we're expanding our ribs. And so we're kind of expanding our ribs to the side and to the back and also to the front. It's not a hugely deep breath where everything fills up, okay? It's a breath that's here. So when we're breathing in, we breathe in and we breathe out. And you can see my hands actually moving as I'm breathing in and breathing out, because that's where the lungs are filling up and they're pushing out my rib cage. So it's actually very helpful to make the sound as you're breathing. So you're at home on your own, nobody can see you, and even if they can, who cares? So we're going to breathe, and we're thinking about, put your hands here, keep your shoulders relaxed, put your hands here, and I want you to breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Okay, just while you're doing that, there can be a tendency to go, yeah, remember, your shoulders remain pretty still. Really try and focus on this area. Not pushing out your stomach. It's not a deep breath that goes into, pushes the diaphragm right down, so it's pushing the abdomen out. It's really focused here. So let's just try that again. Relaxing the shoulders, shoulders back and down, remember, head elongated, think about that orange, and breathe in and breathe out. One more time, breathe in, breathe out. Oh, that feels so good. Okay, so the next thing is the two positions in Pilates. During the exercises, I am going to say to you, okay, I want you to be in the neutral position, or I want you to be in the imprint position. And we use both of those positions depending on the exercise that we're doing. So I'm going to get you to actually lie down on your mat or on the floor, wherever you are, so you're comfortable. And we're going to keep our knees bent, hip width apart, and feet parallel, okay? And again, we've got our good posture happening, haven't we? We've got our shoulders back and down. You could even kind of move your fingers down a little bit to help you bring your shoulders down. They're relaxed. Remember, they're relaxed. We've got our elongated neck. We've got our chin tucked in slightly, and our ribs are in. Okay, so with the neutral position, this is actually a really comfortable position, okay? Our coccyx is on the floor. We've got a natural curve in our spine, and our hip bones are pretty much parallel and even. Okay, so our whole pelvis area is pretty flat. if you actually make a triangle, if you make a triangle with your fingers like so, okay, and then put your fingers onto your pubic bone and the palms of your hands down onto your pelvis, you should have a real sense that that's all equal and even. So if you think about it as you've got a cup of tea, a beautiful cup of tea, resting on your pelvis, the liquid in your tea would be absolutely balanced, equal, level. Level's the word I'm looking for. It would be absolutely level. So that's the neutral position. Natural curve in the back of our spine. So there's probably a little bit of a gap there depending on your body. And the pelvis area is flat, stable and straight. Okay, so think about that cup of tea. Normally that's the position that we're in for most of the Pilates exercises, because a lot of the exercises we've got our feet on the floor. If, however, we don't have our feet on the floor, we've got both feet off the floor, we want to adopt another position. And this position is called the imprint position. The imprint position is very important because it does keep our backs protected, particularly when we have our feet off the floor. In the early stages of learning Pilates, people will often swing their back around to try and get their legs up off the ground, and that of course is disastrous. It's when their core is not strong enough. So the imprint position, whereas before the pelvis was actually quite flat and level, with the imprint position, all we're doing is we're actually just slightly inclining the pubic bone. So if you just can see that, I'm just slightly inclining the pubic bone. It's not a big movement. I'm not doing that. My coccyx is not coming off the floor. I'm not going like that either. I'm just slightly inclining my pelvis so that my pubic bone is tilted up. And if you do that, what you'll notice is that curve in your back has reduced, okay? Now everybody's different, so some people will still have a bit of a curve, other people's back will be flat against the floor, but it's not a huge movement like that. We're not flattening the back against the floor. It's really just a tilt of the pelvis to reduce that curve. So that means when we go into, and I don't want you to do this, when we go into both our legs off the floor, our back's protected and I'm actually able to use my powerhouse, my abdominals to hold my legs up, not my back. Okay? So we've got the neutral position, that's the natural curve, flat, and then we've got the imprint position, which is slightly tilted. Okay, so they're the two positions, and as the videos go on and the exercises, we learn the exercises, I'll say, okay, I want you to use the imprint position or the neutral position. Okay. Now, the last thing that I wanted to do for today is to look at activating the T-zone. So the T-zone is kind of, it's the powerhouse, if you like. That's a term that they often use in Pilates, the powerhouse. But I'm just going to kneel up for this. We call it the T-zone because I want you to imagine that you're drawing a T across your pelvis, okay? So the horizontal line is going from one pelvic bone to the other, and the vertical line is going from the pubic bone up to the middle of the horizontal line, okay? Now this line here is representing your pelvic floor, which sits here, and this line here is that transverse abdominis, which wraps around us here, those very deep abdominal muscles. So when we're doing the Pilates exercises, we do need to activate those so that we're really using that area and strengthening that area, which helps us to, which is what we should be using to do the exercises, certainly not our back. Okay, so let's try that, shall we? So let's lie back down onto the floor. Again, I want you to go into the neutral position. Okay, remember that with the natural curve. Remember you've got that cup of tea on your pelvis. Everything's flat, even and stable. Knees hip width apart, feet parallel. Think about that good posture for me. Okay, I want those shoulders back and down. Chin slightly tucked in, elongated position. And just take a moment. Just take a moment to feel comfortable. And now I want you to focus on that vertical line that's going from your pubic bone up until the middle of the horizontal line. And what I want you to do is I want you to lift that pelvic floor up to the horizontal line. Okay, if you think about that sense of when you have to stop yourself from going to the toilet, that's kind of what happens with when the pelvic floor is lifting up towards the horizontal line. So let's breathe in, and as we breathe out, let's just try and lift that pelvic floor up to the middle of that horizontal line. Okay, release, breathe in and breathe out. Sorry, let me just do that. Breathe in and breathe out and lift that floor up. And if you've got your hand there, you can actually feel you can actually feel it happening. Now, if you can't feel it happening, don't worry, because obviously this is very early days and it does take some practice to get that happening. But let's just try it again. So let's relax in, neutral position, breathe in to prepare, and breathe out. Let's lift that up to the centre of the line. Lift the pelvic floor up to the centre of the line. Okay, good. All right, so now let's focus on that horizontal line. So the line going between the two pelvic bones. And with this, what we're doing is we're drawing those deep abdominal muscles down towards the floor, okay? We're not kind of doing that. It's all happening from within. This part is actually not moving very much at all. So we're going to draw our abdominals down towards the floor, and then there's the sensation of our hip bones actually coming together. If you think about the image of, pulling on a tight pair of jeans, when you've got to pull on a tight pair of jeans and you've got to do them up and you've got to, to do them up. Okay, so think about that sensation, but not, right? Everything stays still. What's moving is the muscles inside. Okay, so what you should see is your stomach shouldn't dome like that, right? What you should see is that it actually goes down, all right? So let's just focus on this horizontal line. Breathe in to prepare and breathe out. Sinking the abdominals to the floor and bringing our hip bones together. Okay, relax. Let's try that again. Just relax. Breathe in to prepare. And breathe out. Okay, let's try and put the two together. Okay, so we're going to lift the pelvic floor up to the middle of the horizontal line. And we're going to sink the abdominals down into the mat with the sensation of our hip bones coming together. So just relax, breathe in to prepare, and breathe out. Okay, let's do it again. This time, I want you to just get your fingers and to put them inside those hip bones. You don't have to do, you're not digging in, just so that they're resting there. And you should be able to feel those muscles working if you're doing this correctly, okay? If you don't feel anything, don't worry. It is about practice. But let's just see if we can feel anything happening. Okay, so let's breathe in to prepare. And breathe out. Pelvic floor up. Abdominals down to the floor. Hip bones, sensation of them going together. Okay, and release. And let's just try that one more time. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Okay, good. Okay, now you're going to have to practice that because that is absolutely practice. But when you can activate those, when you can activate that T-zone, that's where you're really starting to work those muscles, and that's going to make it so much easier to do the exercises that you need to do. Okay, so that's today. They're the basics. I hope you're going to continue practicing those. And in our next video, we're going to start to do some basic exercises. And over time, we're going to build it up. Because the most important thing is you're safe in every sense of the word, given our current times, but that we keep our bodies safe and well while we're doing the exercises. And let's stay at home and make the most of the opportunity to really be with ourselves and look after ourselves. Okay, see you next time. Bye.